says find the slope. It says find the slope of the line through the points. So it gave you 2 points, but I think what probably caused a little bit of consternation was the fact that they were fractions. Yeah. Yeah. So 38. The first point was 3/4, comma, it was 3/4 1/3, and the second point was 5/4 10/3. What's the equation for slope? Can someone just tell me what the equation is? That's slope-intercept form. Can someone tell me what slope? What's the? Oh wow! 1, Alyssa. Yeah, correct. Does it matter which one you label the first point and which one the second point? No. So let's just call this one x2, y2, and this one x1, y1. So if we labeled it that way, can someone tell me what I'd have to do on the top? What would be the numerator? Yeah, Kelly.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
In the book it said hint next to the first problem, it said A over B.
Yeah, ignore that for now. We'll get back to that. Let's just do it this way for now, okay? That's a hint for just how to divide fractions, yes. Okay. So on this one, if it was y2 minus y1, tell me what we're subtracting on top. Nate.
10/3.
Yep.
Minus 1/3.
Yep, and what's on the bottom, Nate?
5/4.
Yep. Hey, look, they even give you common denominators. So that's going to be what, 9/3 and 2/4. When you're dividing a fraction, dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by what? The reciprocal. So 9/3 divided by 2/4 is the same thing as 9/3 multiplied by 4 over 2. So that's going to be 36 over 6, which is what? 6. There it is. That's where that step came into play, Kelly.
All right.
When they're telling you in that hint, when you divide by a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal.
Okay.
Any other questions from like that?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really match any of the forms we've seen. It's not standard form.
Yeah.
What form do we like, or what form are you guys most comfortable with? Slope. Mx plus b, slope-intercept. So if we want to do that, we need to get y all by itself. What do we multiply both sides by? Someone tell me, what do I multiply both sides by to isolate y? Alyssa. You could multiply by 4. Awesome. If you do that, you end up with negative 9y is equal to 4x. Now what do I divide both sides by? Negative 9. So y is equal to negative 4/9 x. What's the slope of that line? What's the slope? Yeah, that is the slope. And what's the invisible thing we're adding to this? 0. So that right there is the y-intercept. So what point, if the y-intercept is 0, what point do we know it goes through? If the y-intercept is 0, what point is that called? The origin. If the y-intercept is 0, we know it goes through the origin. So this thing goes through the origin, and what's the slope? Negative 4/9. So we start at the origin, and then we go over 4 and down, you know, something like that. Negative 4/9. It's around, oh, excuse me, down 4 over 9. It's going to look more like this. Sorry. So we go over 9 and down 4. There it is. And it goes through the origin. Make a big origin there. Does that kind of make sense, Kelly?
Yes.
So put it in a form that you can recognize and work with. Slope-intercept is good, but do you always have to convert to slope-intercept? No. You don't always. Negative slope of the deck. This is the deck right here. Is this if this line... It says change it to a positive? Oh, consider it as positive. So you can look at it going the other direction. Okay. In this case, it is, let's keep it as negative for now, because it's going down from left to right. To find slope, we had that formula, we have the points, but what was another way to write slope? It was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's another way to say that, Nate? Rise over run. In this case, if we're reading from left to right, what's the rise in this case? If we're reading from left to right, does it go up or down? Negative 60. Right now, if we go from left to right, it goes down 63. But we need to figure out what the run is. How do we figure out what the run is? How far over it goes. The run is, there you go. It's this distance right there is the run, right here. That right there is the run. How do you figure out what that is? Someone just said it. I think, Lauren, it was you. What's it going to be? 250 minus 160, which is what? 90. So what's the slope going to be? Negative 63 over what? 90. Can you simplify that a little bit? Yeah, was it negative 21 over what? Negative 21 over what? 30? Yeah, there it is. It's pretty steep. Now, if you were walking from right to left, the slope would be 21 over 30. If you were walking from left to right, the slope would be negative 21 over. It depends on how you look at it. Generally speaking, though, how do we read slopes from left to right? Either way, this is pretty steep. So we've already kind of started this out. We're going to write an equation of a line given its slope and y-intercept. If you're given the slope and y-intercept, what form should you use, Rourke? If you're given the slope and a y-intercept, Rourke, what form should you use?
Y-intercept.
If you're given the slope and y-intercept, what form should you use? Yeah, y equals mx plus b. Good. Exactly. So slope-intercept form is nice because it gives you the slope and the y-intercept, or if you have the slope and the y-intercept, you can write the equation immediately. Very nice. So for example, if I gave you this right here, this is the slope as stated, and that's a point, but specifically it's the y-intercept. So Lauren, you can immediately write the equation, which is going to be y equals what?
X
Plus what? Yeah, exactly. You can clean it up a little bit, but there it is. You can immediately write it, depending on what you're given. In this case, we're looking for slope and y-intercept. If we want to graph a line using a slope and y-intercept, where do you start? What point do you start at if you're given the slope and y-intercept? Say this right here. If we wanted to graph this one, what point should we start at? 0, negative 2. So start at the y-intercept. So if you start at the y-intercept, and 0, negative 2, right? I'll move this up here. So 0, let's say 0, negative 2 is right there. And what's the slope? Negative. So that means down how much? So if I go down 4, what point am I at if I go down 4? Yeah, it's going to go down. Yeah, so let's say it's not to scale, but there's negative 6. And we go over how much? 5. Negative. So what point are we at? We're at 5, negative 6, I think, right? And then you connect the line. Oh, there you go. Make sure you put little arrows. It helps. But go to the right. That's helpful too. Nice. Don't make these harder than they have to be. What about this, though? Is this in the form we want it to be in? No. What form is it in, Caleb? Calvin, sorry. Yeah, what's it called? Standard form. This is nice because standard form gives you the intercepts, but I don't want the intercepts in this case. I want to convert this into y equals mx plus b. If I wanted to convert that, what would I do first? There's a couple things you could do first. Rachel.
Subtract 2x.
Yeah, 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 9. Then what, Nate? So y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 3. Hey, now what's that going to be? That's the y-intercept, which is 0, 3. And what's that negative 2/3? Slope. So where do you start? You start at 0, 3, and then what do? You go up. Actually, down. Wait, you go. Yeah, negative. Doesn't matter if it's negative 2 over 3 or 2 over negative 3. It's the same thing. It's going to be the same thing, but in this case, go down 2 and over 3. Graph it. You could. Well, hold on. You could just find the intercepts. And the intercepts are pretty fun to find because if, let's say, x is 0, can you tell me what y is if x is 0 on that one? 3. Here's another one. But what happens if y is 0? What's x? Close. 9 over 2. Hey, we have 2 points. What can you do with 2 points, Jacob? Exactly. So wait, look, we just did all this work, and now can we graph the line? Yeah. If you have standard form, find the intercepts. If you have standard form, find and connect them. Do you have to find the slope if you don't need to? No. This right here, is this a lot of work? Not really, but is it more work than finding the intercepts? What's more possible if you do more work? You could make a mistake. You can make a mistake, so only do what you need to do. Sometimes you're going to need to have a different method. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit more fun. Are you always given the y-intercept when you're making a graph? You need two pieces of information. You could be given 2 points. You could be given a point and a slope. Does that point always have to be the y-intercept? No. So let's say, for example, I gave you a point AB, and Katie said, oh, I have a point CD. Can someone tell me what the slope is between those 2 points? B minus D over what? Yeah, exactly. That's it. Does it matter what the points are? No. It's subtraction on the top, and what is it on the bottom, the denominator? Subtraction. Okay, let's change it just a little bit. Ready? I'm going to change it just a tiny bit. Ready? Let's say one of the points is xy, and the other point is x1, y1. I'm just labeling it different. Kelly, can you tell me what the slope is if those are the 2 points?
X1 minus x over y1 minus y.
Excellent. What's another way to write that? Could I write it like this if I wanted to? Yeah, I could flip the subtraction, right? I could if I want. It doesn't change anything, because does it matter which one we order the first point and which one we order label the second point? No, it doesn't. Oh, look at that. Good catch. Does y have to be on top? No, it does. It does. This right here absolutely needs to be right there. Oh, I almost got it. Almost got it. And then where does that? You're absolutely correct. Good catch. Absolutely. See how easy it is to make easy mistakes? So ready? I'm just going to write it like this for now, okay? Is this totally okay? Yeah. If I wanted to get rid of a fraction, what do you multiply by? What's the easy thing you multiply by to get rid of the fraction? The denominator. What's the denominator on the right? What's the denominator on the right? If I multiply by the denominator, what happens to the denominator on the right? It goes away. So what does it become? X minus x1 times m equals y minus y1. I multiply. It doesn't. You can multiply either way. It's fine. Usually, what you see this in is you see this in this form right here. You see it y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Has anybody seen this before? This is point-slope form. And this is really good when you have the slope and any point. The slope and any point. So, Katie, just give me a point, any point you want. 3, 6. So, ready? Here's an example for you. 3, 6. And Jacob, give me any slope. Can someone just tell me what the equation of that line is? It's going to be, I'll start you off, y minus what? 6 equals x minus. Done. Done. If I just ask you to write the equation of the line, is that an equation of the line? Yes. If I don't specify the form, is point-slope form okay to stop at? Yes. Is that in slope-intercept form? No. Is that in standard form? No. But is that a line? Yes. Again, don't do extra work unless you need to. You can just totally stop. It's really, 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 really helpful. Okay, we just did.
I didn't really get that.
Okay, the equation was y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, and you're just filling in the blanks. That's it. So, Kelly, can you just tell me what it is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Y minus negative 1.
Yep.
Equals 3/5.
Yep.
Parentheses x minus 8.
Done. Could you clean that up a little bit? Generally speaking, the double negative. Yeah, this would be fine. I like this right here. Totally fine. Keep in mind, though, what form is that in? Point, slope. Totally fine.
So how would you get back to a slope?
Ah, exactly. So let's do that. Sure, that's totally fine. We can do that one with this one right here. So if you wanted to, you need to distribute. So you get y plus 1 is equal to 3/5 x minus 8 times, and then y equals 3/5 x minus, was it 24 over 5? Then minus what? 1. Do you have to clean it up a little bit more? Oh, there's an x right there. 3/5 x minus what? Nah, close. You're subtracting minus 29 over 5. Because you're subtracting 1, right? Minus 29 over 5. So this is nice because now, do you know what the slope is? Well, you knew the slope before. What's the new piece of information you now know? Yeah. So this would be slope-intercept. Wait. Minus 1 is minus 5 over 5, right? Kids? You go down. What's negative 24 minus 5? It is. Now here's the other one. What about standard form? First we would distribute and get 3/5 x minus, what was it, 24 over 5? What was standard form? Do you remember what it is? Yeah, so we need x and y on the same side. So what should I subtract from both sides? Yes, so I get negative 3/5 x plus y plus 1 is equal to negative 24 over 5. Now what do I subtract from both sides? Subtract 1, so subtract 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. Plus y, oh, it's an x. You got to put the x in there. Equals negative 29 over 5. Now here's the thing, this is important. Your book says this, but it's important to recognize. Standard form, depending on your book, will change. ax plus by, is this ax plus by equals c? Sure. Some books, they don't like fractions. What could I multiply everything by to get rid of the fractions? So it could be negative 3x plus 5y is equal to, and then better yet, some books don't like having a negative first. What could you multiply everything by? Just multiply by negative 1. So what does it become? 3x minus 5y is equal to? See these three things? They are all the same. They're all technically in standard form. Some books don't like fractions, some books don't like negative form. I used to call this clean standard form because there's no fractions and the coefficient in front of x is positive. I like this because can you find the intercepts pretty quickly? I like it. Okay, so how about you? What form did you use first? What did you start with? Point slope. And what's it going to be, Jacob, in point slope?
Y minus 5 equal to 1/3 parentheses x plus 2.
And then if you want to go to standard form, what do you have to do? One word first. Yeah. So it's y minus 5 is equal to 1/3
x
plus
2/3.
If you want to go to standard form, what do you do next, Nate? What should I do next?
Add 5.
Yeah, sure. Y equals 1/3 x plus 5 plus 2/3. Now what should I do? Anybody?
Subtract 1/3 x.
Sure. So negative 1/3 x plus y is equal to, what's 5 and 2/3? It's going to be 17/3. I don't really like it like that. What else what's the last thing I could do?
Multiply by 3, negative.
Awesome. So you end up with x minus 3y is equal to negative. Nice. There it is.
How did you get the 3y?
Because I multiplied by, he wanted to multiply this by negative 3 to get rid of that negative 1/3. That's where it came from. Y equals anything. We'll say y equals b. What about vertical? What's the slope? Undefined. And what's the equation?
X equals.
Anything you want. We'll call it a. Anything you want. X equals 7. Vertical line at 7. Vertical line at 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Just remember, horizontal line, what's the slope? 0. It doesn't not have slope. It has slope. The slope is 0. Nice. You also know the intercepts. It's a good time. This is the last thing right here that's kind of important. To graph a line, to write the equation for a line, you need two pieces of information. We've done slope at a point, y-intercept at a point. But what happens if they give you 2 points? Are they giving you the slope? But what can you find given 2 points? Exactly. So are they really giving you a ton of information here? Yeah, exactly. So give me a point, Kelly. Any point you want. 3, 5. Katie, give me any point you want. 6, 2. Find me the equation for the line going through these 2 points. Okay. So now you have 2 points and a slope. So what form should you use? Point slope form. Which point? Does it matter which point you use? Let's use either one. So let's use A. Let's use A. So it's going to be y minus 5 is equal to x minus. Exactly. If you used B, what would you end up with? Now they don't look the same, but are they actually the same? Yeah. If you converted them to slope-intercept form, they would show to be the same. That's great. Nice, excellent. Now could you convert that to slope-intercept? Sure. Point slope, you already have them in standard form maybe. There's a different time and a different place for each. What was the perpendicular slope going to be? So someone who hasn't spoken yet, Dev, what's the equation of this line? If this is the slope and this is the point, what's the equation?
Y minus 16
Mm-hmm.
equals 7 plus bracket x minus 4.
Done. It looks like a really tough problem, right?
Yeah.
Perpendicular to, but not really. How many pieces of information do you need to write the equation of a line?
2.
That's it. 2. I gave you one. You gave you the point, so you just need to find the slope. Yay.
3.2
Mm-hmm.
x plus 89.
No, it's just that. 89 is the name of the gas.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
it was
no.
89, like,
No, it's just the name of the gas. So there it is. You multiply the cost by the number of gallons. The cost per gallon times the number. You got it. Excellent. What's the y-intercept of that line? 0. So it goes through the... Nice. A car wash at this gas station costs an additional $3. Man, I want to go to this place. Write an equation that defines the cost of the gas and car wash. So does the cost of the car wash change depending on your gallons? So what would the total cost be? So y total.
y is 3.2x.
Nice. Done. If you didn't buy any gas, how much would it cost to go there? What's the y-intercept now? 3. Yeah, you got it. Excellent. Nice. So there are other word problems. I'm not going to do this one right now. You can do this one out on your own. And actually, why don't you do that right now? This is in my notes. That should be appearing on your tablet. It should be there. Try doing example 8